Hello world creators! Today we will have a look at health bars in Godot, and there are essentially two different options from which you can choose: the progress bar and the texture progress bar. This video is within the scope of a beginner level and will cover the basics of implementing a health bar. In this scene I have created a little guy called Pink, and he doesn't quite like it if we tickle him. Other than that, nothing is happening. We will now give him 2 health bars to represent that he loses some health points with each time we tickle him. First, let's jump into the scene of Pink. And as you can see here, there's just a timer, which I'm using for animation, and he has a little hitbox. We will add the health bars now. And you will find both if you type in progress, and you have the progress bar and the texture progress bar to choose from. We will use both. And we will start with our progress bar first. I will drag it up a little bit to be on top of his head, and then I'm going to stretch it out. And I'm also going to turn off the text field because it's preventing me from making it any smaller. So turning that off and bringing that here should be just about right. Now in the inspector to the right side, you will have a bunch of values that you can work with. For example, what is the minimum value of health that this health bar should have, and what is the maximum value. Then also we can set the value that we currently hold. For example, let's give it half full of health, 50 health points, and you can see that the progress bar is filling. The step value is determining how big the intervals are that we are moving in. For example, right now, we are moving by 0.01 points of health. If I put that as a 1, we only move once we have lost 1 health, not 0.01. It is important to know this difference because if you have a damage that comes in that is just 0.5 health, it is going to be ignored because it's rounded down. And that is already going to be the extent that we're going to look at in the values. Now our progress bar is looking quite ugly, as you might agree, so let's pimp that up a little bit. If we go down here into the theme overrides, and if you choose the drop down for styles, what you can do is you can give it in the fill down here a new flat color in the style box. If you click on this again, you can also edit the style box, making it, for example, a green color, which is much more proper for a health bar in my opinion. What you can also do then is use all of these details here to temper with it. What I, for example, really like is that you can give it a corner radius, and if we pimp that up, you will see that our corners are now rounded. You can mess with all kinds of things in here. For example, you can give that thing a border of a pixel in each direction so that it has a little border around it. And then you can also give this border a color. And if you notice, this all looks very weird. Reason is that he's trying to use the anti-aliasing to smoothen around all the edges. We can turn that off if we go to anti-aliasing on here and just turn it off. Now that's how it looks now. Honestly, I'm not quite a big fan of progress bars because it is a bit limited of what we can do with it unless you go ahead and create your own style, but that is a topic for a different video. Now let's go and have a look at the texture progress bar, which in my opinion is much more user-friendly, especially for beginners. If we drag that up here and align this more or less the same, what you see here on the right side, they have exactly the same values as before. If we give it a value of 50 though, here nothing is happening yet because we didn't pass it any texture. Textures, you can pass it if you open this texture drop down, and you can see that he can have an under, an over, and a progress texture. If we give in something for the progress texture, you will see that he now also has a progress bar that will change with the values that we give it. So turning that to 100, we have a full HP bar, and this is just too long for the texture. Good. Now, arguably, they both are not the prettiest. The texture progress bar though is allowing us to make it a little bit more pretty with relatively few efforts. We can, for example, give our flat color here a little bit of texture, and it already looks a little bit better. And you can also round the shapes of the edges. What it also allows is to give an overlay, for example, like this. And if we now reduce the health, you will see that this overlay stays as is, whereas our progress bar is diminishing. What we then also can do is get something which is rendered underneath, which then can be like a red bar, which is not moving when we reduce or increase our health. These are the three options that you have here with the texture progress bar, which make it easier to adapt, in my opinion, than our progress bar. Now we have two beautiful health bars. Now if we jump into the scene and we start tickling our little monster here, nothing is happening yet. But that is quite easy to achieve. If we jump into our script, where you can see that I have already done a few things, in my function where I detect my mouse click, what I want to do is reduce the value of the progress and the texture bar. So let's first reference them in our script by dragging them over and holding the control when we drop them. And then I take my progress bar, and what I will do, access the value and subtract 10 from it. We do the same with our texture progress bar. We access the value and we subtract also 10 from this one. Save this, play. And now whenever we click him, or whatever your trigger is to reduce the health bar, it is going to reduce by the value. If you have any troubles on connecting your damaging functions to your health bars, don't worry, just leave a comment down in the section below. Or what you can do is watch my video about signals, which should help you connect your damaging functions with your health bars with ease. Thanks for watching, keep creating games, and see you in the next one.